Shalom, this is your Ark. Yah is magnified, coming back with another informative video. I titled this video, Child Support on Behalf of... But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They're all facts and all truth. Nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm doing this video for my Ark, Mr. Stanley, man. We filed a motion to terminate into the court. He haven't received me. He just received his court date, so we're preparing for that. But I just want to share some important information with you guys to give you guys another look on things, because I had did a video prior to this video a few months ago titled Child Support, the Third Party Intervener, okay? So if they are the third party intervener, then this video is basically a spinoff to that to further explain how to get this job done, okay? And like I stated, Mr. Stanley, who sent the gift, we're still fighting right now. But I'm showing y'all this right now, so when the time comes, after he get this after he get this order terminated, then you guys can see that yes, everything I'm saying is true, man. Everything I'm saying is true. I just need you guys to understand and really pick up what's going on, okay? But as you guys can see, it states, in the Circuit Court of the 7th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida. You also can see that I crossed out the case number. To the left side, it says Department of Revenue on behalf of, let's call the child's mom name, Miss Knight, okay, who was the petitioner. So now you have the Department of Revenue on behalf of Miss Knight is the petitioner, okay? But let's continue. This is a notice of hearing before the hearing officer. And my Ark, Mr. Stanley, we're going to call him, is the respondent. As you guys can see, they mailed the copy of this letter to what? The Office of Attorney General, Child Support Enforcement, letting them know that there will be a hearing before the hearing officer on December blank 2019, with the address and everything goes at the bottom, okay? For what? For the respondent's motion to terminate child support. All right, so I drafted a motion to terminate for him. He filed it into the court. Now we have a hearing in December on this motion, okay? But I want to show you guys something, man, to give everyone, especially if you live in Florida. This is more ammunition for you. But not only if you live in Florida, this is ammunition for everyone because it's the same game in every state. Everything is played the same, okay? We just got to really realize what's going on. So as you guys can see, it says Department of Revenue on behalf of Miss Knight. Now, if that does not ring a bell and let you know that something is absolutely wrong with this situation, then you have a lot of more studying to do. Okay? Why? Because the Department of Revenue cannot appear on behalf of anyone. When the last time you guys been to court, especially if y'all in Florida, been to court and the Department of Revenue was actually sitting in the courtroom? Never. Why? Because the Department of Revenue do not exist. Okay? It cannot enter into a courtroom. So if it cannot enter into a courtroom, it cannot appear on behalf of someone else. It's just that simple. But not only that, to further prove that, when you do get into the courtroom and you state that simple fact, the judge will immediately point to what? The title for the attorney. Right? Right. But we know that the title for the attorney only have a attorney-client relationship with what? The Department of Revenue, or whatever state you in, the 4D agency. No matter what state you in, the 4D attorney only has a attorney-client relationship with that 4D agency. So in this case in Florida, it'll be the Department of Revenue. Okay? So now, if the attorney only has an attorney-client relationship with the Department of Revenue, then there's no way that the attorney can speak on behalf of the petitioner, Miss Knight. Okay? So that automatically what? Removes standing. They do not have any standing in court. Automatic. The case must be terminated for that one reason alone. Automatic. And I'm not going to even tell y'all how much other stuff we put on the document, but just alone should terminate this case off for this alone. Why? Because like I stated, the Department of Revenue cannot do anything on behalf of Miss Knight. Why? Because they cannot appear. And to further prove that, there's an attorney that appears on behalf of the Department of Revenue. So if there's an attorney that appears on behalf of the Department of Revenue, that further states that the Department of Revenue is not there to appear on behalf of Miss Knight. You see, who is the obligee in this matter, or the custodial parent. And to further prove that, guys, let's go to the Florida statutes. Let's go there. Okay, let's pick this up at the top, guys. We're coming from the Online Sunshine, right? This is the official internet site of the Florida legislature, okay? So if you're out in Florida, simply type in Online Sunshine, or you can type in this statute right here, 409.2564, Actions for Support. Type that in Google, you'll find this website. As you all can see, this is the 2019 Florida statutes coming from Title 30 from the Social Welfare, Chapter 409, Social Economic Assistance, right? Let's stroll down to number 4 real quick. I want to show y'all 4 before I show y'all 5. Number 5 is the main reason why we're here, but I have to show you guys number 4 so you guys can also see there's multiple ways of receiving remedy. So let's pick this up at number 4. It states, whenever the Department of Revenue has undertaken an action for enforcement of support, the Department of Revenue may enter into an agreement with the obligor for the entry of a judgment determining paternity. So there must be a what between the Department of Revenue and the obligor? An agreement. If there is no agreement between the two, meaning a contract with both parties' wedding signature on the record, then there is no agreement between the obligor and the so-called Department of Revenue. But let's continue. If applicable, and for periodic child support payments based on the child support guidelines scheduled in section 61.30, before entering into this agreement, before doing what? Entering into this agreement, the obligor shall be informed that a judgment will be entered based on what? The agreement. So it's basically saying before entering into this contract, the obligor shall be informed that a judgment will be entered based upon that contract that he agreed to. Let's continue. The clerk of court shall file the agreement without the payment of any fees or charges, and the court, upon entry of the judgment, shall forward a copy of the judgment to the parties to the actions. Okay? So let's continue. Now, number 5 is the point I want to show you guys about the state being there on behalf of another party. Let's continue. Whenever the department has undertaken an action to determine paternity, to establish an obligation of support, or to enforce or modify an obligation of support, the department shall be a party to the action only for those purposes allowed under Title 4D of the Social Security Act. The program attorney shall be the attorney of record solely for the purpose of support enforcement as authorized under Title 4D, and may prosecute only those activities which are eligible for federal financial participation under Title 4D. An attorney-client relationship exists only between the department and the legal service provider in all Title 4D cases. So in Title 4D cases, there exists a what? An attorney-client relationship between the attorney and the department only. Let's continue. The attorney shall advise the obligee, who is the non-custodial parent, in my ARC case would be Miss Knight, in the Title 4D case, that the attorney represents the agency and not the obligee. So the attorney there will represent the agency and not Miss Knight. Okay, but now you have this the enforcement program saying that they're there on behalf of Miss Knight. So now, how can the enforcement agencies claim to be there on behalf of Miss Knight if the enforcement agency is not there and someone is standing on behalf of the enforcement agency known as the 4D attorney? So the 4D attorney only has an attorney-client relationship with the agency and not with Miss Knight. So there's no way they can stand there on behalf of Miss Knight because they don't have that attorney-client relationship. So the case must be what? Dismissed. Plain and simple. Terminated. Vacated. Whatever you want to do to it, it's got to get up out of here. So with that being said, that's all I'm going to do for today. All my brothers out in Florida, I provided more than enough remedy for you guys. Now it's time to go out there and get it. Get it. If you all need my help, it's going to come with a fee. We all know that, man. A gift come with that. But if you all need my help, man, hit me up in my email at y'allismagnified@gmail.com. Let's get to this real remedy, man. No more playing games. With that being said, I say shalom.